How's it going, Vikings fans? Welcome
Up,
to the
up.
first Victory Monday GG Sports Podcast Monday night live stream
Let's
of the
go.
season. 4 weeks too late for this, but
Yeah.
whatever. We're finally here. Minnesota Vikings knock off the Carolina Panthers yesterday, 21-13 to secure the first win of the season. And here we go. As Kevin O'Connell said at the end of his locker room speech, here we effing go. So the
Let's
start of
go.
something,
Let's
you
go.
got the Kansas City Chiefs coming in next week, but we'll talk about that later on in the week. We're going to spend it this evening talking about the first win of the season, putting all the tank talks on hold for now. Yeah, Minnesota Vikings win. What are Jamie? First off, how are you doing this evening? And second off, how are you feeling after yesterday's victory?
It feels. I mean, I'll go
Good
into it in a
win.
second. Let
Good
me
win.
let me get these shout outs here. We got the Mellow Show in the building. Dave with Minnesota Sports Talk brought us to you, onto you. We followed you on Twitter. You just subscribed to us on here. We appreciate it. We gave you that subscription back, but we're happy to see you in here. And you already got the hashtag Skol. I don't know if you know this, but on every show, we give away a Justin Jefferson rookie card, and we're going to do it again on this show. And all you need to do is put those hashtags. The guy who had also, by the way, Kirk Cousins had 39 yards and 85 went to Justin Jefferson for 2 touchdowns. But you put the hash Skol tags in the comments with Mello. Actually, the first entry today. Like the video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you also haven't already. But yeah, definitely get those likes in. Let me hit up Gary here. Sup, Skol mates. What up? What up? What up, my GG brothers? We got Barber 1975 Skol family once again, live from Virginia. Let's go. Let's go. The Sodak, what up, my guy? This intro is still so dope. Hey, we appreciate it. We had someone make that the track on that. Gary Sodak, I love it too. Let's go. Mello, you made it. Hey, what up, Justin? Skol. Get those hashtags goes in. Two-tone to Tony. Let's go. Anyways, back to this game. So I'm feeling pretty good today. I mean, a win is a win. It's definitely always better than losing. But again, I do think this was a game that we should have obviously won by more than
Very
that
well could
game.
have as
And we
well.
probably should have. We should have. I mean, you take away
Yeah.
the pick six or whatever, but we can say at this point, we can say take away a turnover here, whatever. We have what, 9 on the season now? 8 on the season. So it's like we can't even use that as an excuse anymore. We're just turning the ball over way too often.
Yep. And no
But
fumbles though.
so
No
I don't
fumbles that
think there
were
was there?
recovered. Kirk
Yeah.
did fumble it on the snap, but I think he fell back when we were trying to sneak. But he fell back on it, so everything was fine.
Yeah. And
We
then
won't
what?
count it. We won't count it.
Two interceptions. Yeah. Two interceptions. I mean, yeah. And then
One interception that you can really
the
pick
other
six
one is kind
was the
of like
worst
an
throw I've ever seen in my life. The other one, Ed Ingram. Come on, man. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dalton
So,
Reisner, but that's all I got to say on that.
yeah, I know we can touch on that later, but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I still think like it's a win. We came into this game thinking like this has to be dominant, and you could argue that it pretty much maybe not dominant, but it's pretty much you take away those turnovers, like it probably would have been, but still that's not good enough. So I do think us winning by 8 points wasn't enough. I thought against this Carolina team with how much talent we had, we needed to blow them out to have any actual some sort of real like feeling that we might turn this season around, which I'm not really there yet. Obviously if Kansas City comes here, and especially if Taylor Swift comes here. Actually, if they don't have Taylor Swift, because they've been winning their games with her next Sunday here. But if we beat the Chiefs, obviously, I mean, I think as a fan base, we'll be feeling quite a bit different. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it wasn't enough moving forward, but it wasn't a loss. If we lost, obviously, we were all having a whole entirely different conversation. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And like
how
the
about
team
you?
you were
What's your thoughts
playing,
on
and
this whole thing?
the team we were playing, it wasn't anything special, right? Bryce Young has been so far into his rookie season pretty unimpressive. I mean, you really feel like watching him. You know, when you watch him at Bama, he was playing free, right? Running around, flinging the ball around. You don't see that with him right now. You feel like he's, maybe it's just, I mean, probably shouldn't be in the starting role yet, unfortunately. I mean, he was the, far and away kind of like the number one guy in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy taken after him and CJ Stroud is playing much better right now.
It's been really
But yeah,
good.
it just feels like Bryce Young isn't quite playing as free as he would like to. So you got to look at that. I mean, Adam Thielen, of course, had a pretty solid day, former Viking. But yeah, I mean, My thing is, and we all know last week, right here about this time, I went on a pretty sizable rant about Kevin O'Connell and his leadership so far the first few weeks and how he kind of his coaching and whatnot, which I got to give him a ton of credit for this game. We looked ready from the get-go to come out and play.
Mhm.
Without that interception, that first drive was beautiful. Obviously, the interception kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. But I thought from the jump, except for the second drive after the interception, from the jump, I really appreciated what I saw with the play calling. I think it was creative. We were mixing things around a little bit. We got Justin Jefferson the ball early. Everything we did in the first couple or the first drive, I thought he started off hot. And like the defense, they had a really good plan in place for how to stop this team. So first off, I think the first thing I will give credit for is Kevin O'Connell made me bring me back to the love and feeling I had before the start of this year. I feel like this is finally how he wanted this team to play. And was it perfect? Absolutely not. The overall offense wasn't great. I mean, 21 points, 139 passing yards against this defense. It's yeah. 139 pass yards against his defense. It's really nothing to brag about, right? But at the end of the day, you saw those steps that we wanted to take. I thought the offense was fun again, and that's one thing that I really did like to see there. So that's my number one thing that I loved. So I loved about
Yeah,
this game. But yes,
which is
it's still a game that I mean, and we did only allow one offensive touch or one. No, we didn't allow any offensive touchdowns, did we? No, we didn't. So it's one of those things
yeah,
where
no,
it's one of the. This game should have at least been 28-6, right? At the very
yeah,
least, and
at the
could have
very
been more.
least.
But
Right.
step in the right direction, and you get the W. But yeah, like you said, do we need to see more? Absolutely, absolutely. And I think you even titled our video yesterday that got the first win, but there's still a lot of work to do. And I think anybody on this team will tell you that. But from an offensive
Yeah,
perspective,
even
you got the playmakers the ball you needed to. Cam Akers, I thought looked really good mixing in there. Offensive line held up decently, I suppose. Kirk was only sacked 2 times, so yeah. Overall, a win's a win, and there is a lot of things to like. And we'll talk about defense in a bit here, which, yeah. What else you got offensively? What did you like? What didn't you like? Outside of the interception, of course.
obviously what you said with Kevin O'Connell was still really nice to see. I didn't obviously, it's all, and I've seen this a lot on Twitter and everywhere pretty much, is just that all Kirk Cousins stats and stuff ended up in losses. And then the one game that we actually win
High praise,
is
Jerry.
is Kirk Cousins. What CG, I put it right up there with Jerry Burns.
That's
F-bomb
high
presser.
praise. That's high
Yeah,
praise.
that is high praise. But yeah, so I mean, Kirk Cousins had kind of a not definitely is the worst game of this season for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Very
Obviously, that
uneven.
was a
Very
terrible,
uneven.
very
Very
uneven. He
uneven.
still had moments. He still had his good
Right.
moments, and ultimately
Like actually doing something with getting the defense to jump on the offsides call, because he
yeah,
said after the game,
right,
he said if they don't jump, we're just letting that roll to the 2-minute warning or whatever point in
yeah,
the game where Isaac. But they jumped and we got a free play out of it and we took a shot, and they did, and they shot it to your best player and it worked and it's fantastic. I love
right.
it.
Yeah, that
That's
was
having a
nice.
plan. That is having a
Right.
plan when you get up to the line of scrimmage.
But again, the thing that still makes me worried moving forward is like right after he threw that pick six, and I know we kind of blame this a lot on KOC, and a lot of, if you don't like Kirk, you're blaming it only on Kirk, but is just the conservative approach. I think after he threw that pick six, he seemed to be very hesitant and
Yep.
conservative. Right after that, even KOC though, right after that happened, we come out 2 runs, Kirk throws a little
Yep.
dump pass, 3 and out right away. And it just felt very conservative. And again, even though we started kind of pushing the offense down the field after that, we were down again. Like we were behind in points. So again, it just feels like a situation where we're not really being too aggressive with the football or really trying to push the ball down the field unless we're behind in points. So that's something moving forward. Cause I mean, wholeheartedly still believe that is the difference between us being actually a good team and not a good team, is being aggressive and going out and trying, like airing that
Stomp
ball
on
out
them.
early
Stomp on
and
them.
often. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, as far as offense goes, there's that. Obviously the run game was fantastic. We got to see Alexander Madison had a good day. What he had like 90 yards
95 yards up on 17 carries,
95
5.6
yards. And
per
then
rush.
Cam Akers jumps in and looks great
Quick.
as quick and as like a kind of committee thing. Like he spells Madison out pretty well, it looked like, because we saw the speed from him and also the vision out of him and his patience. I saw a lot of patience when he had room to run. I mean, he kind of slowed down. So I mean, some would say he slowed down maybe a little bit too much, but it was like he's looking to where he's going to go, kind of. I don't know. I kind of liked it. So we got to see a lot of good things. That was a huge boost, a huge winner was our run game. Blocking wasn't too terrible, I felt like, from protecting Kirk Cousins. I mean, that's another thing. Kirk Cousins was not pressured a whole ton in this game. Am I the only one who can't hear anything?
I don't know.
Gary, can you hear anything?
I hope so. I mean,
you hear me?
I can hear you,
me, right, Casey? Yeah.
So Kofi, I'm honestly, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but it's not muted, right? Just a thought. I've done that before. Like, I'll watch something and it turns out he's got to click on the thing. And
Gary, can you hear us?
I mean, I assume he can.
Yeah. Kofi, can you still not hear us?
Anyway, found Addison not being involved in game more odd. Okay, yep, they can hear us. Cool.
Okay.
Well, if we check the mute button, just check the mute. I'm kidding. I mean, seriously, just do it. Addison, yes, because Jamie did text me that during the game, and I did find that weird as well. I mean, we took the one deep shot where Kirk said like that's he got his arm hit on that. I guess if you look at it, Josh Oliver was pushed back into him, which didn't allow him to complete the throw. But you love to see the deep shot. Addison's become the deep shot guy, which is
and something. Addison scores there. If that I didn't realize that's what happened to Kirk Cousins, but yeah, that's what I was trying to say on a Bleacher Report was like he could have he just underthrew it, but he also got hit, so that explains a lot.
But then he was also able to come back to the ball and draw the pass interference, which got us down into that situation anyway. And was that where the interception happened? No,
Perfect,
that was later on in the game. Good deal. But yeah, it is odd. I want to as we talked about, I want to see Addison use that route running to his advantage, and I want to see more plays designed for him, and just to shorten the field. Like same thing, like because this team, I mean, obviously with only 19 pass attempts and 23 rushes, you didn't. What was the time of possession here? Let's see, team stats.
And also, I do want to say that
21 minutes to 38 minutes. Like the way that you possess the ball more is grind out first downs, mix in some of the short passing game to, A, chew up some clock, B, chew up some yardage, and use more of your downs, convert first downs using that short passing game. I feel like it's just something that this offense is still kind of missing here. And I would have liked to have seen more of that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that does come from using Jordan Addison like Jordan Addison should be used. So,
yeah, again, KJ Osborne had 40 total snaps to Jordan Addison's 28. So we have not put Jordan Addison as the wide receiver 2 yet, which is crazy to me. I just don't get.
They did. 2 of them could have worked. 1 of them did work. 2 of them could have. Wasn't for a hold.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
That was like the one time. Yeah, I know. That's what sucks is we don't really want. I mean, of course we want him to work, but KOC gaining the confidence and the tight end screens, man. That's scary to think about. But yeah, I don't know. I think with Addison, I don't know. We need to see him more. They need plays too. He didn't get a lot of plays, even though he didn't have a single catch or anything. And that guy knows how to get open. And right, Kirk Cousins has this something with part of it is like Kirk Cousins' love for KJ Osborne. It's kind of like CJ Ham. Like he just likes to try to get the ball to KJ. And again, we saw he forced it to KJ for that interception, that pick 6. I don't know.
Which he also, I was watching before we hopped on here, I was watching his press conference from today where he said, he's like, yeah, that play, he said the play was on me. He's like, I took the snap. I saw TJ on the inside. He's like, I saw the safety kind of lean over towards TJ. He's like, so then I decided to look out to the flag. He's like, but at that point, with a throw like that, where you're throwing it directly outside, he's like, I took too long. And then that safety could go both ways because he was kind of in the middle. He's like, I took the throw, waited too long for that. So he's like, if I'm going to do that, is like, that needs to be my immediate look. Like, I can't look inside to TJ and look off. He said, that's the reason the interception happened. He's like, I was too slow getting to that. He's like, if I throw that right away, probably a touchdown. But the fact that safety had time to read my eyes, kind of what I was looking at, he was able to jump over and intercept the ball. So,
right.
Again, it's one of those things like a 12-year vet should, a little quicker at the process there. But hey, at least he's out there admitting it, though. He's out there taking the ownership, which is nice to see. Which, again, whatever. But
one thing on Addison though is like, even though obviously I love some Addison, he did not look good in protection. I mean, especially he let the guy go right by him to
JJ got
destroy
absolutely
JJ.
blasted.
Yeah, he just let him go right by. And that's the thing though. I mean, with Addison, like I'm not worried about his size when it comes to
Right.
just being a receiver, but it is easily fair to say, like, I don't know how good of a blocker he could ever be being that small. So I mean, part of you is like, I mean, you probably shouldn't have had Addison over there to block a guy in that scenario. But yeah, I don't know. Going forward, again, I don't know when it's going to happen or how or whatever, but I'm hoping we see some more Addison, some more plays for him. Because I do think it was a big one. Kofi here, it was Kirk's fault, but if you really look, TJ was supposed to run a rub route, didn't even try to create it.
Well, I don't even know if it was necessarily that. I mean, like Kirk said, he's like, I looked inside to TJ first and saw the safety inch over his way, so I decided to go to the out. And at that point, I got there too late. And then, yeah, like I said, the safety could read his eyes. So I don't even know if it was the way that TJ ran the route. I just think it's the diagnosis of it and kind of, hesitation to just throw it right to TJ. So I don't know. Interesting stuff there. That's why I like listening to a couple different viewpoints. Like when you listen to Kevin O'Connell talk about it, then when you listen to Kirk talk about it, and they can run you through the thought processes behind kind of what happened. But
one thing I wanted to go through here is I haven't looked at the PFF stuff today. So let's see what the PFF for the offense look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got here. So we kind of go through here. We got Josh Oliver, number 191. Obviously fantastic. He's been really good in run blocking, but
couple pass block issues in there for sure.
He got the holding penalty called. Was it? That's what it was, right? Holding.
That would have been the JJ touchdown.
The JJ touchdown. Yeah. So he did do that. But he still got 91. Justin Jefferson obviously should be up here, pass run block 60.6. Christian Dare size, who he is. We love to see him healthy because this is what he can do. 88.3.
Absolutely.
TJ 81.5. Cam Akers with a 78.7. Just all around good game by him. Brown O'Neal, of course, you got those tackles, 77.6. The boy CJ hitting with the 73, 59.7 in the pass blocking, fantastic. Run blocking, pretty dang good. Schlottman 64.2. Ed Ingram 64.1. Could be worse. Madison 62.9. What up, Skol Mafia? Brandon Powell, we don't see a ton of him. And then KJ 57.9. We got Jordan Addison all the way at the bottom with 45.5. Though, they probably don't give him any bonus points for creating that pass interference play, which was massive in this game.
Yeah.
Well, was that no, because that one actually ended up in a touchdown, I think, right?
I believe so.
I believe it did. Yes. It wasn't the pick six. It wasn't the pick six. Nope. Kirk Cousins towards the bottom here. Not surprised this week. 53.3, 58.5 in the pass. It was just not a good Kirk Cousins.
Very uneven. Very uneven. And zero
uneven.
tackles when he could have had one if he took the better angle, but it is what it is. Offensively, I mean, again, it was more creative, and that's not really all I want to see at the end of the day. But Kofi does kind of get us into the main, and one of the other things I really did want to talk about, and that is a couple apologies that we have to make here. And we'll save the best for last. But one of the things you do need to do is toss an apology the way of Marcus Davenport. So, and then I listened to his press conference today. I just think that's how Marcus Davenport is. He is a very interesting person if you listen to him talk, right? I guess Kevin O'Connell said he did give him a game ball in one of their meetings today. But the game yesterday, 4 total tackles, 1 solo tackle, which was the 1 sack he had. I wish they would have given him a half sack for the who finished that one off.
I think it was it Wanham?
Yes, I believe it was.
Or DJ Hicks. Wanham and Hicks. DJ Wanham got the sack. It must have been him because it was all
Either way, Davenport started it, and then I believe Wanham came and finished it off. I wish they had given him. It was Wanham. Okay, thanks, Kofi. I wish they'd have given him credit for half a sack there. Then he did have one at the end of the game where he could have ended the game with a sack, and he let Bryce Young slip out of his grasp. But I mean, I don't know his pressure count. I guess I don't even know. I can't find that on ESPN, but I'm sure I know he had multiple. He looked, and one of the things I loved to see was him and Daniil coming off the same side of the line for edge rushing, and then you put Wanham on the other side. That's awesome because there's no way that they're going to figure out how to block Daniil and Wanham. And you saw Daniil and Wanham both penetrate. I mean, it didn't equate to a large number of sacks and quarterback hits, but it definitely was a step up. And then, of course, the other one, Harrison Smith, with a career day, 14 total tackles, 8 solo, 3 sacks,
Let's
and just
go.
absolutely phenomenal day by Harrison Smith,
Let's
man. Like this is what we
go.
wanted to see of Harrison Smith in this defense. What were your thoughts on both of those guys?
Dude, like you said, I mean, we aren't calling Davenport Davin poop anymore, especially if he can just continue to stay healthy. Nobody gave him a chance. Everybody,
Absolutely, Kofi.
everybody was kind of put it on Quezzy, like, oh, you just wasted a bunch of money, whatever. But man, I mean, when he came in, he looked fantastic. Definitely was bringing on the pressure. He had a better game than Daniil Hunter did yesterday. And not in moving forward, like being able to see Davenport do that, it gives us hope for this entire defense, because I think that was probably our biggest thing going forward here is the lack of actual pressure. I mean, we have Flores calling all these blitzes. We're
Which
trying.
he did back off the blitzes this game a little bit.
And Beeflo mixed it up and gave us a different look. Yeah. I mean, that was nice too. And that's what we need from him as well. But I mean, in the first 3 games, he still is trying to bring on the pressure, and we just didn't have the players to do it other than Daniil Hunter and Ivan Pace. So now having Davenport in there is just huge to have that player. And I mean, if he keeps playing like this, that can change everything. And even in the secondary and just the whole entire defense here. So that was a big win by Davenport in this game, and obviously impressed us all. And then Harrison Smith, this is exactly what we were hoping for when we got Brian Flores and Harrison Smith together. This was the dream scenario, was him putting him on the line and giving Harrison Smith a chance to get some sacks in this game. Moving forward, you better put him on the line a lot, because 3 sacks in one game, including that forced fumble, which immediately, I mean, that put us up immediately. I think we were down 7-13 or whatever, and then that brought us 14-13. So that was huge. That was huge.
Yeah, that was a fun. That honestly, I think I saw.
Right,
I can't remember who it was who put it on Twitter, but they said, like, if the Vikings somehow make a run, you go back to that strip sack touchdown as the turning point of the season, because at that point we're all feeling like offense isn't going to make anything happen, yada yada. Just this is going to be another one of those games where we turn the ball over and lose, but we end up with turnover that turns into 6, and the rest is history, man. That game at that point was just kind of ours. I mean, we let him convert a couple times on the final drive, but ended up holding the fort down. And we don't get there without the man, the myth, the legend, numero uno, the kicker, making all of his extra points. 12 of 12 in extra points this year, by the way. I'm going to humble brag there, because I've been, on the guy's side. And Ty Chandler looked pretty solid returning kicks as well.
Yeah, he did.
Had a long of 33.
I mean, we're not going to see him much as a running back, it doesn't seem like, because did he even get a carry back there?
I don't believe so. I don't think he was.
So Cam Akers is kind of coming in for that. And we're going to see a lot of Cam Akers, I think. It's going to be probably split carries, maybe probably towards Madison, but you're going to see a lot of Cam Akers now. It's definitely going to be a committee duo type of thing. And hey, I'm here for it, because Cam Akers does something that Madison can't, and vice versa, I think. So I think our run game is actually going to be turning around quite a bit, which is also huge for our offense, because we can actually rely on that a little bit, especially with how much talent we have in the passing game.
Yeah, Harrison Smith definitely should get Defensive Player of the Week this week, and I think he will after a performance like that. 3 sacks from a safety. Come on, dude. Come on. I saw like a comparison. His stats to like Troy Polamalu, and he has a lot better stats in certain areas. So
yeah,
just saying,
dude, he's stud. He's stud.
But he's not.
Hey,
he's quiet. He doesn't get the love for that, like, of the All Pro teams or the first team All Pros, because he's just quiet and he's not as flashy, whatever. But the dude's one of the very best, and I hope he can keep this going all season long. So if they want to make any sort of noise getting into the playoffs, like, he needs to keep doing this, and we need to keep using him correctly. And so far, I don't know. Again, I love what Flores is doing with this defense. Do we have all the pieces necessary for it? No, but the scheme wise, at least it's more fun to watch than what we were doing with the Donachelle last year. So it's a nice little.
We'll take it for sure. Nice, and I'm interested to see where they're going to be at now. We'll find out tomorrow, but I know they're at like 24-25 for scoring defense and yards allowed. It'll be interesting if they boost up a little bit, because obviously our goal with them was just to get let's get into the top 20. That's the goal for our defense. And we just
Absolutely.
need our offense to stop turning the ball over, and that'd be nice. But
I mean, we only allowed
we'll see.
232 total yards of offense. So
Yeah. So that
that's
should be
solid. I mean,
quite a
not like
bit.
ours were much
10
better, but
plus.
yards per play they only had 3.4. So
Yeah.
and they had the ball for almost 40 minutes. Nuts.
Right. I know that is crazy. That's crazy because that's another thing. I mean, even our defense played pretty good in this game. Again, they did allow a lot of like marching down the field and then just stopping them cold in the red zone. So there's a lot of that. So I do think that's a reason why they held the ball quite a bit, which was kind of annoying. But at least we held them at the red zone, which is really good. Ultimately, knowing that your red zone defense is capable like that. But I was going to bring up the PFF stats for the defense. Check out those. Let's see here. Defensive grades. All right. We got Wonham with the number 1 here. 81.5. Coverage 91.2. Okay. Harrison Smith. I don't know how Harrison Smith's not higher than this, but 78.3. Yeah. Pass rush 85.1 deservedly. Jonathan Boulard's looking good. Marcus Davenport 73.5.
He's been something. He's really looked good.
Yeah. I mean, he's a solid guy. Not going to make tons of mistakes type of player, and we need that on our defensive line. Tackle was not good from Davenport, I guess. Josh Metellus, 72.9. Andre Carter, how many totals did he? He only got 3 rush defense. He got 1 pass rush. Did he get that'd be crazy if he got 1 hurry in here. He did get assisted tackle, though. That's all right. I'd like to see Andre Carter a little bit more moving forward, I think.
Could you imagine Daniil and Davenport here, Andre Carter on the other side? Let's get some of that rolling.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Jordan Hicks, 69. Makai Blackman, 68.
Solid day.
Okay, Caleb Evans, 64. Cam Bynum. And Cam Bynum still's looking good, man. He just became a very sound tackler.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Phillips, 63.7, even though he gave him. Oh, wait, no, that's Harrison Phillips. Okay. I was going to say, I just called Cameron Bynum a sound tackler and thought PFF gave him a 29.8. Down game for Daniil Hunter based on PFF 63.4. Theo Jackson 63. That's so crazy still to see Asamoah with only
2 snaps.
2 snaps. Byron Murphy 60.5. So Byron Murphy, I think he's kind of the player that we're hoping to see starting to step up moving forward. I mean, he looked solid in the first 2 games, but
nice to see Jaquelin Roy got some snaps, 17.
Got some snaps. 17 snaps.
Tackle, which is interesting.
Dean Lowry. I mean, Roy could definitely take him over. Ivan Pace, this is definitely by far his lowest grade according to PFF with still, I mean, pass rush is pretty low. What do you get? Coverage 66.7. So down game from Ivan Pace Jr., but what do you expect out of a rookie? And then Patrick Jones. This is the big one. I mean, he has not been good so far this year, and we were kind of hoping we'd see an upgrade on him, but I was kind of surprised, man. Andre Carter might eat into his snaps.
I personally like Patrick Jones over DJ Wonnum initially, but it's looking the other way around. DJ Wonnum's actually looked pretty solid so far this season, so it's good to see. But
preseason, I predicted Hitman get 7 sacks this year and got so laughed at. Oh yeah, does half that in one game.
Yeah, because all he has is those 3 so far this year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah, again, Jones looks tough,
and it really is one of those things you do got to take with a grain of salt. I know you said in our pregame late last week that you wanted to see domination of this team before you started thinking, okay, this team has a chance to turn around. Like a win is nice, but again, this looks like one of those games. It's like it's nice to get a win, but man, it could have been an absolute ass kicking at some point.
And it should have been.
Right.
We know again. I want to say stuff like blame it on the turnovers or whatever. Like if Kirk Cousins didn't throw that pick 6, it's a domination game. But again, I mean, at this point you have so many turnovers, you can't really use that as an excuse.
Right. For sure. Yeah. But I mean, again, nothing stats wise, it's nothing insane. Like 130 passing yards, 135 rush yards is nice to see, but it's just this the turnaround here is going to come down to, can our defense do stuff like they did yesterday consistently, getting after the quarterback, forcing some turnovers, and can this offense just maintain the ball, put some good solid drives together, and just really open up that passing game. I mean, you'd think of 135 rushing yards, you'd be better than 19 attempts for 130 yards, especially how good Kirk is in the play action game. I need to see more of that. So if you're going to start getting some success in the run game, turn that into success in the passing game, But again, it's hard. with an 0-3 start, it's hard to sit here and complain about a bad win. Like, you need something. But and this gives you a little bit of hope going into this Kansas City game, who
See,
they did not look fantastic last night
no,
against the Jets. But it's still going to be a tough
though,
test for sure.
but that's the kind of stuff like you see like that you just still wish you see in Kirk Cousins. Like even though Mahomes had an
Oh, for
absolute
sure.
off game for himself, but towards the end of the game, he steps up for his team and with straight out wins it. Like he just puts a ball in his hands and wins the game for them outright, which is something we don't really get to see from Kirk Cousins. Not really, anyways. But man, Chiefs are not scary. They have it's just their wide receivers are
Patrick Mahomes
and
scares me for sure.
Kelsey, but their wide receivers are just not that good. And if Zach Wilson can do what he did against that, they're making. I mean, all the memes saying this is the day Zach Wilson looks like Joe Namath, and there's all this crazy stuff. I mean, if he can do that, then obviously Kirk Cousins and the boys can definitely do that for them, as long as they don't make any mistakes. Our team is good. That's
the thing, the mistakes, and that's the name. That's the name of
those runs were not. I mean, there's definitely some questionable calls in those games, but the runs
and Isaiah Pacheco looked fast. Like when he's in the open field, that guy is fast. But that's the thing. You want to talk about the turnovers. Like the Chiefs, even though this Chiefs team doesn't look as good as they did last year, and yes, I mean obviously you do feel like the refs are. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes, right? There's probably a chance the refs are going to be a little bit favored, or at least that's what we'll say next week. But this is the type of like playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. You cannot turn the ball over especially in critical situations, but you can't fumble the ball and you cannot give this Chiefs team extra opportunities because Patrick Mahomes will, even with Patrick Mahomes with a lesser team this year, he will find a way to make you pay. So, I mean, turnover. So you have to take advantage of all your scoring opportunities, right? So none of those stupid red zone turnovers. And you just need to be safe with the ball middle of the field. Like none of those, 50-yard line fumbles, none of the, it's just, especially not in your own territory. You just cannot give this Chiefs team extra opportunities to possess the football. And look at yesterday. Zach Wilson played the best game of his career. He made one mistake with that fumble. And that was the ball game. Patrick Mahomes made him pay for it. A couple runs, a couple nice throws. And that's just, you can't give a Chiefs team extra opportunities, and you got to score when you're in the red area. And that's just something this team is lacking a little bit. I know they were saying during the broadcast of the game yesterday, they were saying the offense just doesn't look on. Like it looked better, but you could tell that there still needs to be more consistency. And that's all those things need to come together. Like you need to play a damn near perfect game to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, even a Chiefs team that isn't what they were last year. So we'll see.
And you need to win that to have hope. Because that's the thing, like moving forward here, I know
1-4 means nothing. Like 1-4.
Yeah, and 0-3 and saying like, hey, I mean, a win's a win. We should be even obviously I like to win, but at the same time, I mean, I personally don't want to get 8 wins and barely miss playoffs. I am on the team of either make playoffs and have a legit run or at least go somewhat deep in there because our team's talented enough, or have a bunch of losses and get a good draft pick. The fact that right now, just with this, the way we beat Carolina, it just still feels to me that we're going to have an 8 or 9 win season. So we'd have to go into Kansas City will have to come here and us to beat them. And then it will be like, okay, like maybe we are turning around. Even though it was a win, it wasn't a convincing enough win to think, all right, we can still like make playoffs and have a decent run. So I think playing against Kansas City is going to matter because at this point we got to win a lot of games. We're still 1-3 and we only beat the Panthers. So I do think we have to do that. And I don't know, that'd be a big step forward, I think, for the fan base to kind of jump back on board.
Right. I mean, basically you need to win the next 3 to really get people back in the swing of the things. Cause you play the Chiefs at 325. Yes, you play at Soldier Field the week after, a place that we've struggled against, though in Kirk's tenure, we've been pretty solid there. And yes, at home, Monday Night Football, we all know the storylines about Kirk and Monday Night Football. You play the San Francisco 49ers, who, for my money, are the most consistent team in the NFL right now. And so you have those 3 games, and you have 2 of them against the 2 hard teams on your home turf at US Bank Stadium. So I think to have any sort of hope for the rest of the season, you need to go 3-0 these next 3 games. You got to steal 2 of them because you've already given away too many So you
Yeah.
got to steal these 2 games against good teams at your home stadium, and from there, let's rock and roll. But the thing I love to see, Kevin O'Connell has that fire back, and that's another thing I noticed with him. Like when he loses, you can tell in his post game and even like the Monday press conference he does, he's down.
Mhm.
And when you're a leader, your team can see that. When you're not fully like confident, like shit happens, you got to be able to overcome it,
Mhm.
smile, and be yourself. And sometimes I feel like he lacks that. But when a
He
winning
seemed
Kevin
pretty pissed
O'Connell,
off after the last
he
loss
did.
too,
But a
and with
winning
the
Kevin
whole
O'Connell, and another thing, you finally start threatening the players with fumbling and not a
yeah,
single fumble.
exactly.
That's the big one. I mean, you saw
Madison was
Madison.
holding on to that ball.
Yes,
2 hands. He
absolutely.
was going
So,
down like that. Yeah.
but the Kevin O'Connell you want to see is the one you saw in the locker room yesterday, the one who's a motivator, a great leader of men, and people like fired up. Just like I said, the way that he ended that one with "Here we effing go," I love it. And then he just storms out of the locker room. Like
So we'll
that's what you
see,
need.
man.
That's
I
what you
wish it
need.
wasn't just out. Like I'd take any team next week. I wish it wasn't Mahomes, even though they look beatable. They look beatable, but still, it's like I wish it was like another. Like I wish we played the Bengals Sunday because I feel like we could take them out. But I mean, if we beat Kansas City, it'll be a big plus.
It
But
will.
I don't know.
And
Obviously, huge plus, and that's crazy.
just for us to fall flat against the Bears the next week or something like that. I don't know, but
Yeah, no,
no,
hopefully that
it's
doesn't happen. I know we need
mm,
well, that's what we need to do. If we beat Kansas City, then we need the Bears to be the complete game. We're still waiting since week 1 of last season. We're still waiting for that complete game where
right.
are winning from start to finish. So,
Guys, we're going to
let's
beat the
go,
Chiefs.
Kofi.
All right, Kofi. All right,
Let's
man.
go,
I believe you.
Kofi.
I believe
I
you.
hope so. It's possible. I'm not saying I
For
think if
sure.
we
And
don't turn the ball over and
what
we
go ahead.
have our pieces are I like our offense better than theirs. You take Mahomes out of that offense, ours is way better.
Absolutely.
Way
And
better.
their offensive line ain't that great either. And maybe who knows, and maybe the Jets showed something on both sides of the ball that this team can exploit, right? The biggest thing is like defensively, the biggest thing is keeping, as I saw Barber say here, and I think we did a great job against Jalen Hurts with that for the most part. He had a couple plays where he snuck out, is keeping him contained in the pocket, right? Keeping him
Yeah.
contained in the pocket, getting pressure on him, having good enough coverage, and not letting him extend plays is going to be huge. Stop the run game, and then on the flip side, it's literally just limit what Chris Jones does to this offensive line. I mean, if Reisner ain't going to be in there, get Ed Ingram some help trying to block him. It's just we absolutely need to limit what that guy does to our offense because Kirk needs time. We all know that, and
Mhm,
Chris Jones
mhm.
is one of those guys. He doesn't let you get a lot of time. But again, the Jets did a great job limiting pretty much everybody yesterday, and I mean, I think
No,
they
we're
may
gonna
have given us a little bit of a blueprint on what to do against this team.
yeah, definitely. Gary, how cool is it that JH had 7 catches, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns, and people can say he had an off game.
Yeah, that is true.
Dude, he's such a special player. It's crazy. That's why it's
Mhm.
like no way can we lose him. But no,
Yeah.
hopefully after this Kansas City game, the media is out here saying that maybe Taylor Swift is too big of a distraction because of how bad we beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, whatever.
Hopefully.
That's annoying.
Hopefully.
But one thing I did want to say
We're
before I
gonna
move
hear
on
it
here,
all
just
week.
yeah, I know. Just kind of although it sounds like things aren't all sunshine and rainbows with that. I don't know. Weird situation. Some people think maybe she's just out for like just self promotion for her movie coming out or whatever, but whatever. I
Who knows?
don't
Who
listen
knows?
to her
That's like
music.
a
She's overrated, but it is what it is. Um, but one thing I did want to point out, just total like a little bit non-Vikings related, speaking of that Chiefs and Jets game yesterday. If you're a parent or want to be a parent in the future and you want to teach your kid how to properly handle certain situations, point them out to Zach Wilson this year. I mean, that guy took so much shit the first few weeks of the season. He's
mhm.
got fans, the media calling for his head, and there he is showing up to his press conferences, taking blame, becoming a leader. And he comes out yesterday, and I think they simplified the offense for him. They made it like Chris Collinsworth at least made it sound like their plan is just give him 2 reads and then have him either dump the ball or throw it out of bounds. But he came out and he played really well yesterday. And even Rodney Harrison at the end of the game trying to get people to start talking shit. He asked Chris Jones, like, this guy's garbage. Don't you see that? Or something about calling him garbage. And he just like if you have kids and you want them to see how to handle adversity, show them Zach Wilson this season because I don't know, man. Hey, the guy's got all the
Hey, what's
talent
up,
in the world.
Sarah?
The guy's got all the talent in the world. You can't.
We could barely beat a rookie, all delusional as hell. Hey, I don't think any of us are saying that. I mean, obviously we have the thumbnail and the title or whatever. That seems pretty optimistic, but no, pretty much this whole time I'm not sitting here thinking what we did against Carolina means anything. And it wasn't even barely, it's not even just the fact that it was a rookie. I mean, Carolina's just a bad team in general. There's a reason why they were what, bottom 3 team going into the draft last year, and then they did get a rookie. So we should have done, like I said, we should have dominated this. I don't think we're gonna just turn this season around. I need to see more. If we were to beat the Chiefs, I do think that's a good step forward to be like, okay, maybe we can do it. It'll be interesting. I mean, even if we go 2-1 in these next 3 games, and we're 3-3 after San Francisco, I mean, there is a chance we can turn things around at that point, but we need to see it. We need to see it. We need to be at least one of these teams between San Francisco and Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think
And
every
I
week this
know.
season coming into it, we're going to say this is a must-win football game, and this one is another. The game against the Panthers was a must-win to get yourself at least that first win. The game against the Chiefs is a must-win to get yourself 2-3 and feeling a little bit better about yourself beating a team, the defending Super Bowl champs. It's going to be a tough task, but we'll see what we can do. But yeah, again,
hopefully
it's nice to get that first W. I mean, the first W just. Then you can just let things roll out. So we'll see. Again, but like you said, I'm not sitting here thinking like, oh yeah, this team's going all the way. I'm sitting here saying like, all right, you got to win. Good job. This is the team
I'm
you
still
should beat, and
scared.
you
I'm
did
still
it,
afraid that we're gonna have with 8 or 9 wins or whatever. That's what I'm afraid. That's my biggest fear, is I don't want that. I either want us to be really good or bad, and I don't think, or like bad enough to get a good quarterback. I don't think any of those are possible. I think being good, I think, is still somewhat. It's the hope. A little bit of hope is still out there, especially
I mean, I think
Kansas City.
we're gonna
As
end up,
being a.
if we decide to
As,
go quarterback, we're going to end up with somewhere like the 5th to 7th best quarterback in this draft. Like we're not going to be bad enough to be a top 10 team unless we decide to make a trade up.
That's
Or
what
unless we decide to make a trade up like the Chiefs did, where you trade up for that guy who's like has all the traits that you want in a quarterback, but you're not 100% sure. Like Patrick Mahomes was that guy, right? He had the big arm, mobile, whatever. But people are like, but is it going to translate to the NFL? So there's going to be a guy like that you're like, he's got all the intangibles, he's got first round talent, but is he gonna be that guy? Those are the guys that end up making it to 10th, 11th pick. But also, did Patrick Mahomes room that now, where people are like, yeah, this guy has all these traits, but we don't want to. Every team's going to want to get up to number 10, 11, 12 to get this guy. So we got to go above that. So it isn't like
I mean, either
Patrick
way, I
Mahomes
hope we
may have
just do what
changed.
we
I
got to
think
do.
he definitely changed the way people draft. I mean, Zach Wilson isn't the number 2 overall pick in his draft class if Patrick Mahomes doesn't happen, So they've definitely it definitely has changed the way.
I don't understand why people want to make the playoffs. I mean, the question is, we're not going to be bad.
A chair and a chance is why people want to make the playoffs.
Yeah. The reality is our team is still way too better to be shitty. Like we're not going to be a 4-win team or a 3-win team. It's just not going to happen. So it's like I would probably rather make playoffs than, I don't know where I'm at. I want to make playoffs. We don't have a Super Bowl caliber team. Probably not.
No, not at all levels. I mean, we have Super Bowl caliber pieces, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, defensively, this isn't a Super Bowl caliber defense, not at all. The scheme wise, sure, but personnel wise, absolutely not. Like, there's not enough.
I just don't want to be
like there's 3 or 4 positions where you're like, we're pretty weak here. Like, our strongest positions are edge rusher and safety, and outside of that, question marks everywhere.
I know, but that's the thing, is like, should we sacrifice our future to, hey, what up, Skol?
This just goes back to that same conversation. Like, everyone's going to have a different opinion, and people are going to say you're wrong. People are going to say you're wrong. Everyone's right. Everyone's right if you have your own solution. Like, this like Jamie said, no matter what, like, this team is not going to be bad enough to be a 2-win team.
Yeah,
and this team isn't going to tank.
That's the point. Yeah, it's
like,
the team's not going to be good. The only way it happens is if we were able to actually trade Kirk Cousins or something. Like, we were able to trade a big important piece. Otherwise, it's just, we're too good. We have Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the league. We got one of the guys leading in sacks, and like, that's not going to be a team that's just going to suck. So that's the main thing. It's not. I am worried. I do think it's going to end up being like an 8 or 9 win season potentially, but I'd rather us probably make it to playoffs than just barely miss playoffs. And I just think that's the route we're going to head. unless our team somehow can turn around and play as good as they can be. And maybe this team might not be Super Bowl caliber. Do I think we have better pieces than the Giants when they won the Super Bowl? Yeah, I think we definitely do. So it's not impossible. If we make playoffs, at least there's some sort of hope. I just don't want to be barely missing playoffs. And I know we're not going to be a shitty team. We've shown it. I mean, our team's we should have won every single game this season outside of the mistakes based on like we outperformed other teams.
Right.
So I don't know. So that's the only thing, Sarah, is I'm like, obviously, I just don't think our roster is not made up to suck. It's just, it isn't. So it's like there's no hope to be terrible and have a good draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm everybody right now, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, just prepare for the future. This team's going to get 8 wins, and for the next 5 seasons, 10 seasons probably, we're going to be sitting having to play Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. with the Bears. It's just going to happen. So just prepare yourself for the worst. I'm kidding, but
yeah. Kofi Sarah is right. If we can only beat crappy teams, what's the point of even going to playoffs? We've all seen the Vikings get embarrassed. See, that's the thing. Like,
stop. But that's the thing. That's why we're saying it's a start. We're not. If we go out there and we beat the Chiefs and we beat the 49ers, then we didn't not beat. Then it's not. Oh, we just beat crappy teams. That's the point. People are saying, you got to get the first win. You got to get the first win to have a shot, right? If you lose this game, hope is gone. You win this game, you got to hope your team gets a little bit of a positive mojo and goes into Kansas City and win that game. That's what it's all predicated off of. Like, people aren't saying like, oh, we're winning the Super Bowl because we beat Carolina. I've never seen one person say that. It's just saying there's hope here. This team can do it. Now you got to hope that getting a win will push you to beat these other teams. That's the point.
Yeah. And Scoja's still right. I mean, based off what Scoja's saying, if we beat the Chiefs, that's what it's going to take for me. Are you guys? I don't think we're going to.
I'm picking us to lose to the Chiefs and to San Francisco, but
yeah, we probably lose to both of them.
I think
that's the crappy thing is, even if we do, the reality is if we do lose to Kansas City and we do lose to San Francisco, then you're
2-5, and that's scary. But then
that's when us as fans, we need our team to trade some pieces so we can actually suck. Because even if we lose to them, I still think we end up being an 8 or 9 win team, and we're just sitting right in the middle.
The schedule does soften up quite a bit after that. But
it does. So that's what I'm worried about.
I'm telling you guys to think more about everybody wants to look towards the future.
What up, Zoe?
Everyone wants to look towards the future. You start trading players away, Justin Jefferson ain't gonna like that. I promise you. If he sees this team that's the going got tough. Stop. The going got tough. We have a softer part of our schedule coming up. We could beat a lot of these teams and get to the playoffs and potentially go on a run, right? And Justin Jefferson sees no, but they just say now that we're this many wins, they want to get rid of everybody. And so what you're saying is he's going to want to stay at a team where the going gets tough, so you give up. And I don't even care that it's you could sit him down, be like, we're going to draft you Caleb Williams. Sure, but that's the thing. Do you want him to see that you're willing just to throw in the towel when things get hard for you? I disagree. Yeah. And I'm not I'm saying draft a quarterback. Like Kirk Cousins should be done after the season. And I'm on that side. So don't call me a Kirk lover or whatever. Like, I'd like to see a new quarterback come in here. But at the same time, you're looking at the future of this team. Justin Jefferson doesn't want to see a team that's okay with losing.
Yeah, but I'm still on. I mean, if we lose to San Francisco and Kansas City and we're 2-5 after those games, you think we're going to be an 8-win team and maybe make the playoffs and lose. He's thinking we still have a shot to win some games and make the playoffs. Yeah, that's the difference. I don't. But we don't like that as Viking fans because we do that all the time.
But yeah, the fans don't. But the players probably do. Justin Jefferson wants to win football games. And if you don't think that, I'm sorry. Anybody that thinks that Justin Jefferson is going to be okay with losing football games and tanking, you're an idiot, and I'm sorry.
See, this is my thing, though. Scoldger soup. I mean, we would rather lose and get to the top round draft pick or have a trade future first.
You would. Yes, the fans would, but convince the players. Convince the players on this football team. Convince Justin Jefferson that you're going to trade off. Okay, here's the thing. In order to trade off Kirk Cousins and get a waive his no trade clause, you bench him so he doesn't play. And then he's thinking, I want out of here because they're not going to play me. So then you push him out. And that's the only way to have that happen. But then you got to explain to Justin Jefferson why you're just okay with losing.
He's gonna, I mean, the reality, I still think so. I mean, with Justin, I love myself some Justin Jefferson more than anything. I don't want to lose him, but being mediocre football team is going to do nothing for us, even with Justin Jefferson.
You can still get a quarterback if you win 8 games.
you have to trade up, and I don't know. We'd be looking a lot, and you're gonna be trading the whole future at that point. Like we're gonna be set up a lot better if that's not the case.
There's what 12 quarterbacks people see with first round potential. You don't need to trade
but
all
no,
like
you said, there's gonna be a guy that KOC and Kwesi or whatever who they like. There's going to be a guy that they absolutely like, and chances are he's going to be higher than the draft. So I don't think we're going to be waiting to hope a guy falls to us. That's not the approach we have to take in this, is to wait for someone to drop around 20th pick or whatever. We need to go up and grab the guy that we want.
You still can. But you don't need to trade heaven and earth to get up to 12. Sure.
See, I'm not on team. I'm not on teams try to sneak into the I'm not at all. I'm not on team try to sneak into the playoffs if you can and then end up losing in the first round. I don't want that at all. Personally, I'd rather
you don't.
I'd rather
players do.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Players want to win football games. We're not the players. The fans can say whatever they want. That's why Justin Jefferson's sick of the fans saying get rid of everybody. He still wants to win football games.
But he hasn't watched the Minnesota Vikings his whole career or his whole life. Like, we don't want a mediocre. I don't care who you have on your team. I don't want to be an 8-8 or 8-9 team every single year and be mediocre and never take the steps it actually takes to make
players want to make the playoffs. And if you have a chance to make the playoffs, they're going to want to win and make the playoffs.
But those players are going to end up still being on a mediocre team then. Justin Jefferson has to realize to some extent, like, hey, we're going to continue being an 8-8
that you're not going to be able to draft a quarterback if you win 8 games. You still can. And you could get a good quarterback by doing that. You could probably get Quinn Ewers at 15.
Less. Yeah, but we don't even know if he's the guy.
You don't know if anybody's the guy. It's the point.
But you're way better off being higher in the draft to go get a guy that you want. For sure. I mean, look at Shroud and Anthony. Bryce Young's jury's out there.
So you're looking at the 2 worst teams in football, or a team that traded 3 first-rounders to go up and get that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what it takes.
You said it yourself. We're not going to be that level of bad.
I know, but I also
don't convince somebody to be that level of bad.
But I don't also want. I agree with what the chat's saying, but that's what I'm saying. I'm understanding what they're saying, because they're saying if we end up 5-2 and we lose to Kansas City, what's the point? We're just going to try to do our best to be a mid. This is the conversation we have as Viking fans. The optimistic Viking fans, they're like, we just don't ever want to lose, whatever. That's what is going to happen. And then we're going to sit and be a mediocre, be in the middle of, I mean, we can say all this stuff about the quarterback thing for forever. As far as a franchise for the Vikings, other than Christian Ponder, when have we even went up to grab a quarterback that we wanted?
Teddy Bridgewater?
Or even that was the end of the round type of quarterback. And I mean, we want to go grab it. We need a guy that we feel like can be the franchise, change an entire franchise. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't want to see an 8-8 team. Obviously, if we beat Kansas City,
nobody wants to, but the players say if there's a chip, a chair, and a chance, you get to the dance, you can make something happen.
Yeah, but that's
how the players are going to go. You don't, but that's how the players are going to go about it.
Of course,
if I'm Justin Jefferson and someone wants to quit, damn well knowing that any team will pay me what I want, I would go somewhere else then if that's going to be the case.
But look at what's like. I agree with Skolger. I want a player that's our team first and truly understand how goddamn bad this state wants to.
Stop. Also, where is that coming from? For me saying Justin Jefferson wants to win. That's the exact point I'm trying to make.
But I'm saying
you can't just give up opportunities to make it to the playoffs and try to win. You don't make it to the playoffs every season.
Yeah, but then if you do and you just get beat every single time and you're not in a position to make your team
you take a shit quarterback and he doesn't get you anywhere and you don't make the playoffs for the next 10 years because you keep drafting.
You got to take that chance. You got to take that chance.
You can still do that without sucking. You can make the playoffs.
We haven't seen it yet from the Vikings. We haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen half these quarterback prospects everybody loves yet in the NFL.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. JJ hasn't even won. I just think, I don't know. I have to agree with them to some extent. I want to win. If we beat Kansas City or San Francisco, I said if we win 2 of the next 3 games, it's kind of like, okay, let's go and try to be a good team that I know we can be. And I think no matter what, at the very least, I do think we're going to have 8 wins, but I'm not happy for it. I think that's the worst case scenario for us, because otherwise we're just going to come into next season with pretty much the same team. And it's just going to be the same thing over and over again. Like, I get that, Jay. Of course, the players are just going to want to win. Why would you be a player and want to lose? It doesn't mean that it's going to make your team a Super Bowl contender someday just because JJ wants to win. Like, I love JJ so much, but at the same time, I'd rather see a Super Bowl than have JJ. So I mean, obviously, we want to keep JJ.
You're talking about the best receiver in the league in a pass happy
I'd
league.
rather have a Super Bowl. I mean, would you trade JJ for a Super Bowl right now?
But it doesn't happen that way. You're building around Justin Jefferson with this football team.
I know I want to do that, but you're saying like, all right, if our team decides,
I'm just saying he's not going to want to be here if you don't show that you want to win. He'll go anywhere because someone will pay him.
I would argue
it's
if you're in the meeting room, it's like, hey, we got to make these tough decisions because we're trying to win a Super Bowl. We're not just trying to win. I mean, even JJ can look at a team and be like, have some sort of self-awareness to be like, I don't know if this is a Super Bowl winning team, and we might have to make tough decisions so we can have that in my career as a Viking. Because otherwise, he's got to be really sick of being an 8-9 team that gets bounced to playoffs every year too. I think that's a fair thing to say.
It is, but I don't know. It's everyone saying just tank, just quit. I'm just saying he's not going to want to be here if you do that. And if he leaves, you bring in a quarterback to throw the ball to who? Jordan Addison, a number, like everyone said, this draft was full of number 2s, no true number 1 receiver.
Yeah, but we got to worry about the quarterback. I don't think that's the case. I mean, you're picking the one scenario where JJ just says, "Oh, we're gonna tank, so I'm out of here." That's one scenario. There's a scenario in this for sure that we don't play well and we get a high draft pick, and JJ doesn't say, "I'm out of here." He still has a whole year on his contract. Let's say we sucked and we went and got a good quarterback and he was able to, even if he didn't start, but we were able to be a decent team and that quarterback looked good, I think JJ will be a lot happier about that situation and he'll have a whole year to see it.
But there's a difference if this team just comes out and flat out doesn't play well. Like if people are trying to say, like, just say, oh, it's who wants, like, why even try to make the playoffs? Just start losing. Like, that's my point. Like, if we just actually suck and we just lose these games and then JJ's like, fuck, man, like, I want like I get we're not trying to lose. We're doing everything we can to win football games, just not happening. And they want to go get a quarterback. That's fine. But I'm at the point where people are like, well, why even want to win anyway? Just start losing. Like, put these guys in and just lose. Like, that's where I'm saying it's just, the tanking thing is not something that's going to work.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I got to be honest, if we lose, especially if we were somehow to lose to Chicago too, and we're sitting there at 5-2 or 6-1, and all of a sudden they were like, no, we're gonna just finish this season strong. That wouldn't irk you a little bit? That would irk me because it's like you are on the side of the fans that you just still want to win. You don't want to see.
I want to see them show me that they want to win, and they'll do anything they can to win what you have in front of you right now. Because no one's jobs are guaranteed next season. No one.
Yeah.
Not even Kevin O'Connell.
It is what it is. You got to do whatever it takes to try to create a Super Bowl winning team. That's what I'm like. We do actually suck, though. We got more holes in our team than Swiss cheese. What up, Mateo? See, I just don't think we suck. Like, I don't think we're that great, but I don't think we suck. That's why I'm like, I am on team. Hey, I'm cool with the tank. As long as JJ is happy and we tanked, which we are not going, it's not probably going to happen. But if we were 1-6 or 2-5 even, and we decided to end the season 8-8 instead of trading some pieces to work on a rebuild, I don't want that, because you need to go after a quarterback that you want. If you're going to there's a good chance KOC's favorite guy is going to be a top 10 pick next year. A great chance. The idea of like, let's hope a guy falls past 10, like Patrick Mahomes, that's crazy, because a majority of quarterbacks that end up being good are going to be a top 10 pick a majority of the time.
Though, I mean, there is a good like 12 or so quarterbacks people see as potential
first rounders, but that doesn't mean anything. How often does that many quarterbacks come in and actually play good? How often does any quarterback come in, and even if your number 1 overall pick sometimes doesn't even work out?
Most of the time doesn't work out. How many, like what is, I saw Kofi ask earlier, what is the actual number of number 1 overall picks that have won a Super Bowl? Peyton Manning. And is that, obviously there's more out there, I'm sure, but it's not a lot. It's kind of crazy.
Joe Burrow's been really close.
Yeah.
Obviously he's been in a Super Bowl. But then there's guys like Jalen Hurts. There's guys like Jalen Hurts and stuff. But at the same time, like you're taking a risk, because the fact that you even waited so that long for a quarterback you like, that just means you weren't, like, even Eagles getting Jalen Hurts, you weren't that worried about getting him at the time. You kind of got lucky. I feel like it's
Well,
different
no,
if you
and
go.
yeah.
And I think, I mean, I think that, I'm assuming KOC and Quezzy and all of them have been watching these quarterbacks like hawks, and they're going to go in the season. That's what we've talked about many times, that we're going to go into the draft with KOC and Quezzy having a good idea of which quarterback they want, not named probably Caleb Williams, because the Bears are probably going to get him, which is even more annoying. And yeah, I don't know, but I'm hoping that they know their quarterback and they'll go up and go grab them. They don't wait for someone, one of the 5 to drop to them or whatever. And my guess, if we really want to be serious about a quarterback, I'm assuming they're going to pick one that's probably going to be in the top 10. And the less we have to give of our future to get that is obviously better for this franchise in the long run. So if we start this season 1-6 or 2-5, I don't think it will happen. I think you're right. The players want to win, and that's probably how it goes, because not every team is going to tank or on purpose. But in my opinion, I'd rather us have. This is a year we're going to be good and make a playoff push, or I'd rather us not be that great and we can go get a quarterback that can turn things around. Hopefully, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, and I will agree that this team is in kind of no man's land right now, because like it's one thing to be incredibly untalented and knowing like, oh, it's blow up time, we're starting over. But the fact that we saw what we had last year and we've seen bits and pieces of this year, just knowing that this team is right there, and just like I have that feeling that if this team did find a way to make it, that they could make a run and they could do something about it. But then again, it's frustrating because we just haven't won those games. So I don't know. Lots of question marks, even with the current makeup of this team. But I mean, but again, I think since Quasi's gotten in here, I think it's been one eye on now, one eye on the future. And we know they're interested in quarterbacks last year. So like we know that's the direction that they're looking.
Right. You just have to believe
they've made enough signings to basically
there's no
surround
they have
a young quarterback with everything that he needs.
Right.
And I also do, like, Soldier Soup is talking about not wanting to have to get to the point where you got to trade multiple first to get up there. And I get that. I wholeheartedly understand that, because this team does need more pieces to be anything.
Well, that's one thing. From a GM, you have to think like, if you're 2 and obviously coaches and everything do have to worry about their jobs, and that's fair, but you do have to think, and they're going to talk, of course, like if you're talking to the management and stuff and you're just like, hey, we're 2-5, 2-6 or 1-6, whatever, we're going to trade some pieces so we can go towards rebuild, then competitive rebuild or whatever. Like if we're 1-6, like I think Quezzy's for sure, you got to be looking more towards the rebuild side instead of trying to be competitive. For that is not going to help our team in the long run, even if it's like the right thing to do, whatever. And even if JJ, like, I don't want to lose, like, of course you don't. But as Viking fans, as we watch, we see teams all the time. Even look at the Lions right now. They trade Stafford away. They get their all those first round picks, even Goff, who ends up turning out pretty solid for them. And now they've used all that to create it. That's what it takes to turn a team around and to actually be competitive. That's just the reality of it. And it does, and a lot of the times it does take some losing that I don't think we're going to do, because I think we're too good regardless. But at 1-6, we need to start making tough decisions. I agree. Exactly. If we're 1-6 and we're just like, and we go on a 7-game win streak, that's annoying. That's annoying.
Especially with one of the things, and I'm going to be a little selfish here. One of the things that I don't want to see is 1-6, because I will not be able to stand 10 weeks of talking about 2024. I'm going to get so bored and annoyed.
It'll be about the draft.
It will be, and I'm going to be freaking tired and not want to talk about anything, because that's boring to me. Having to look forward to next year at this point is boring, and it's unexciting to me. Once you get to the end of the season, then when I get into that, but the fact that I got to sit here in front of a computer 3 nights a week and talk about next season, then I'm just going to want to take a nap and fall asleep, because I think
that's nothing. It's when we're 1-6 and we come out still trying to win games, and everybody being like, we don't even, those wins they don't even matter. Those wins would not even matter. If we came out and keep winning, like, we're not going to care about winning anymore. Most of these, I already know for a fact, all our people in the chat for sure are going to be like, what are we doing winning games? We're 1-6, and it is going to be annoying. And it's probably going to be everything everybody's going to talk about is, what's the point of trying to win?
Though
at this point, especially with us quarterbacks in here.
The mock drafts are fun. The mock drafts.
I 100% was gonna do a mock draft today if we lost to Carolina, but hey, we're still in it. That's what I'm saying. I'll do it if we lose. If we end up 1-6 or 5, even 2-5. I don't know. It's tough. 2-5 is going to be tough. We do feel like we need to be like, I either want to feel confident, like, okay, this team is making less mistakes and they are turning things around. For me to be back on board, beating Kansas City would be a good first step. So I'm not like off this thing yet. I'm not off of it. I know Sarah's kind of off because we just of the whole thing, but I don't think like beating Panthers, it keeps a little hope out there. But if we in these next 3 games are going to be important, otherwise I am probably on that side of like we need to just head more towards rebuild, and it's a reality of it. Regardless if you have JJ or not, he doesn't stop us from doing what's right for this franchise, and that could possibly be a rebuild because that is important. That's what the Lions had to do, and now they're looking. They have a solid team.
Okay, the Lions are a bad example.
We're still going to beat them.
The Lions have been rebuilding since like the 1990s, so that's a bad. That's
not
a great.
But trading Matt Stafford was a very
Sarah's Eagles idea, or his Eagles explanation was a much better explanation of a team that did rebuilding properly.
Yeah, well, I mean, as soon as the Lions traded Stafford, that was like the huge step forward for them. And they got all those first round picks and they were able to build the team that they have now. The offense, and they went after offensive line. They got St. Brown, even though he was a later round pick. But and then obviously they kind of got lucky that Goff is playing solid football. But still, I don't want to be the Lions. I agree, Casey. That would suck big time. I mean, no one wants to be the Lions, but I do think, I mean, that's a team they're the Lions, and people are looking at them as one of the better teams in the league. What does that have to say to you?
It took them 40 years to get there, though.
40 years. But I think they committed to a freaking rebuild. Well, they definitely did and they got lucky on some picks or whatever. Getting Aiden Hutchinson.
They got lucky Jared Goff stepped up, because that would have been the big thing. It's like they would have needed a quarterback.
They wouldn't have had a quarterback.
Even last year, they weren't bad enough to draft a quarterback. So I think they got lucky that, I mean, I think they were probably one of those teams that's sitting there looking at the quarterbacks last year, and then they started winning games, and then they got the belief in Goff, which
and I'm not saying I
don't really know, but we'll see.
I wouldn't keep Kirk for anything more than $10 million a year, and he can't have a no trade clause. That's the only thing that pisses me off about Kirk thing right now is that no trade clause, because that's what all it would take. I honestly believe if we were 1-6, you trade.
Look at it from his perspective, though. From his perspective, he's sitting there, like, this is the only thing keeping me out of a terrible team right now is the fact that I have this.
Yeah, I know. Or the Jets, which they would be solid with him, even though he would never do that. Well, if he didn't have a choice,
but also like people think like, thinking about whatever, but the fact of, I think the thing that people just miss, like they think, oh, Kirk Cousins has this much talent on a team like the Jets, he'd fit in perfectly. Like, people don't think the fact that this guy had spent a whole offseason learning one particular playbook and one way of playing things. You expect a quarterback, and sure, I don't care how seasoned you are, to jump into a new team and pick up the offense like that and all of a sudden make them competitive. That's a stretch for me, because every offense is different. And so to go from one offense and verbiage and stuff, like, I just don't think a midseason quarterback trade to be competitive helps. Like, I don't see a single scenario in when that's going to be like, oh, this team's in now.
Kirk Cousins over Zach Wilson would help.
Well, yeah, but you're expecting a quarterback to come in and learn a whole new system in like a week?
Yeah.
Nah.
I'm trying to think of is there anyone that has done something like that? I don't know. You don't really see quarterbacks getting traded midseason.
No,
but that's what it would be. Like, that's the only thing that would make me feel like we could actually have a real tank, is because regardless of what anybody thinks of Kirk Cousins, he is good enough to win you at least half your games, no matter what.
Well, he's proven that. He's done it. Other than last year bumped up his win loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's a 500
exactly. So overall, it's like, regardless of what you think,
whether that's him or his team,
as long as we have Kirk Cousins, I just don't see any way we're going to be a low end team. Not that even saying, like, I think if we start out 1-6, we probably should go that direction, but I still feel like there's just no way, unless you can just Kirk Cousins. He has no reason to help a tank. There's no reason for him. He's not even going to be on the team next year.
No, for him, it's all about next year. Exactly. For him, it's all about. I mean,
it's even the opposite.
No matter what, he'll get
paid. So there's no
next
tank coming.
there's going to be a team that will pay him just because that's just what happened. I mean, Sam Bradford, after the season where he barely played because his knee was exploded, like he still got $20 million for one season from the Cardinals and started half of it. So
I don't even want to watch the KC game between how bad the Vikings are, more so because I'm sick of seeing Taylor Swift saw her overrated ass more than big plays yesterday. It'll be interesting. I have a feeling, but will it piss? I don't know. For me, like, I feel like she's not going to go to Minnesota for some reason, which is like which is good. Like, I know most Viking fans probably don't want her there, but at the same time, you're like, you just pick our team not to go to, that's kind of a dick move. But even though it'd be funnier if she was there, it'd be funnier if she was there and the Vikings won.
It would be.
But I doubt she goes there. Dead. I doubt it. I don't know. I just feel like she doesn't go to Minnesota.
She's already been here recently.
Or for this game though, I mean. But maybe, I don't know. And I don't know. I don't think the Vikings are as bad. I definitely don't think they're that bad. And that could be part of the problem, is if we do start out 2-5 or 1-6, is part of the problem is we're not actually that bad to the point where we probably won't have 8 wins.
Do you know what you're going to see a lot in like on Twitter and probably from some parts of the fan base in the chat here? If we end up like 1-6, they're going to be, look at the Lions last year. They almost made the playoffs. And then that's going to prove your point completely. They're going to be, yeah, almost. They still are able to draft pretty well though, which by the way, that drafter there is going to be insane. Like Jack Campbell is solid, but the fact that they got Brian Branch in the second round is frustrating to me.
Yeah. But I mean, how funny is it that they picked Gibbs? What, 10th?
Yeah,
that traded up for Gibbs, and he's playing like a quarter of a. That's crazy. You should never pick a running back in the first round most of the time, let alone trade up for one and not even play them. That's crazy.
That's weird. That's
so
weird.
that was a big L by them. And when did Carter? Did they pick him before Carter, or did they pick him right after Carter?
They trade. Did they? I don't remember.
I know the Bears passed up Carter for sure.
The Lions did, because didn't the Lions trade? I don't remember exactly how that all.
I don't remember exactly how it worked out either.
Mm-hmm.
And then even Jameson. So far, the Jameson Williams thing is looking like a terrible pick too. So they're doing like only okay at drafting, but they have so many picks because of the trade.
Their good picks have been like
really good. Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Branch is absolute stud. Like I love myself some Jordan Addison, but you're like, maybe to play a guy like Brian Branch, who's playing a lot of corners, or playing like a cornerback, and then there is Tank Dell in the third, even though we didn't have a third till mid third, but
yeah,
I don't know.
So yeah, Sarah said so. Yeah, that's right. They could have taken Carter, but they traded back and they took Gibbs instead at 12.
Okay.
Campbell at 18, because then the Bears traded back as
well.
Oh
yeah, I forgot about Campbell. That's right.
Yeah, then the Bears traded back and took that tackle, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's what it was. I forgot the Lions. Oh yeah, because of their trade with Matthew Stafford, they got the Rams' 6th pick from last season. Good, don't want to see her on ESPN and NFL pissing me off with all the Taylor Swift crap. When did the NFL become basic white girls? Let's get our pumpkin spice. It's real life. Hey, this is real life reality TV. That's what's happening with that. Regardless if you like reality TV or not, it's in the NFL right now, big time.
Yep, absolutely.
Though I still like my boy Ryan Reynolds, though, Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds is a stud, man. Ryan Reynolds is hotter than Taylor Swift. Changed my mind.
Changed my mind. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, obviously, that's what. So I mean, you can still feel enough like that Carolina game, that win. It didn't really mean that much to me. We should have won. If we lost, it would have been. It was a must win because we couldn't lose. But I knew we were going to win. I was hoping we were going to dominate to feel like more confident moving forward. We're not quite there yet. If we do go beat a Chiefs team, obviously, I do think you're going to see a little bit more of a chance. I do think we have a lot of good talent. So I'd rather watch Jersey Shore Gym Tan Laundry.
But,
hell yeah, Ryan.
That's the thing. It's like, and in order to get me like fully back on board, like this team has a shot. Like, because I will admit, like if we lose, if we go 1-2 these next 2 games, and we're sitting there at what 2-5, yeah, I'm gonna be like, okay, if this team, like I would be at the part where I'm gonna be like, yes, like this team, if we make the playoffs, we're just going to get bounced in the first round anyway. But my thing is, like, I just get so, and I understand, like I said, I am 100% on board with moving on at quarterback after the season. I'd like to see a rookie as well. I'd like to see someone a more modern, younger, mobile quarterback come in. But I just have a hard time sitting here knowing I have to do that. And I love doing this, but doing this week after week with a team that we're expecting to lose and we're looking forward to next season. Like, and it's only at that point, at least we'll be like, what, over a third of the way through the season to when at least it's like, okay, the season's almost over. That's good. Instead of like week 4, we're sitting here like, oh, well, let's look to next year already. So I don't know.
See, that's why if we lose to the Bears and we get smacked by and we're 1-6, if we are actually 1-6, because the playoffs are out of the question at that point, probably. So you're just playing to
not necessarily the Lions last year.
What were they? Were they 1-6?
They're 1-7, and they were a game away from making the playoffs.
Yeah.
At 8.
I mean, it's not impossible, but if we don't lose by 21, it's a victory. To be honest, they're actually healthy, unlike when the Lions were gifted a win against them. There's no if we lose at all, that's just a loss to me. I don't want a moral victory against them because there's not really a point unless we go and beat San Francisco. Like, otherwise, I'm like, who cares? At least our losses aren't blowouts. But that's the thing, though. That's the problem, is that they're not blowouts because we're not an actual bad team, which means we're probably gonna go have 8 or 9 wins. Hey, let's go, Barber 1975. We're gonna do the giveaway too as well. Hit the like buttons. But Justin Jefferson rookie card, another day, another show, another Justin Jefferson rookie card. Hashtag Skols in the comments. We're gonna run this pretty soon. What's up, Casey?
Absolutely. So, but my last thing though is like another reason why I'd like to see this team at least try to win games is because, and again, this is what I brought up in my Kevin O'Connell rant from last week, is that if you want this guy to be responsible for drafting your quarterback, and you want this guy to be responsible for getting this team ready for said new quarterback and pushing it into the future, I want to see him develop as a head coach. And the only way to see him develop as a coach and develop as a leader is to have him get the best out of his players and try to go win football games. Build confidence for everybody, coaches on down, moving into the future with the quarterback. If we're awful, people aren't going to want Kevin O'Connell coaching up a new quarterback anyway. So it's one of those things like I want to see that growth there from a coaching perspective. Because if we go into it and we just suck, then you have no idea what to expect next year with a new quarterback coming in anyway. So
right. Still waiting. It should be there in the next couple of days, Kofi. If not, just let me know. I'm assuming it will be. I forgot when I sent them out, but it was like later last week because I had like a bunch of them to send out. I know JJ got his today, and he only lives like only like 50 miles away from me. So he can do that with Jaron Hall. Yeah. That's the one. Kirk Cousins is not going to. The reality, Kirk Cousins is
at that point you would
you
would try Jaron Hall because you have a Nick Mullins. If you're at that point, then your season. Then your season's over. So then you would just toss Hall out there just to see what you can get.
I hope so.
Kind of like the Raiders did with Aiden O'Connell yesterday. Like you have him Brian Hoyer, so you might as well give O'Connell a shot.
I wanted DeMeco Ryans or Raheem Morris. Yeah, Raheem Morris never even ended up getting a coaching's job.
No,
DeMeco Ryan,
yes. But I think at that point, the team was ready to move on to more of an offensive young coach.
Speaking of that, we wanted what's his name from Miami. That's who he was the crown gem of that.
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, dude. That guy is a stud. Even though they got their ass whooped last weekend, but okay, yeah, it should be there soon. Hey, what's up, Greg? KOC has been the biggest disappointment this year.
And I will agree with you absolutely.
Play caller looks lost at times. Last week was a little bit better as a play.
I'm hanging on to the fact that he's just a fantastic leader of men and knows the game of football. I'm hanging on to that it'll eventually propel him to where we want him to go.
Yeah. All right, Giants, Seahawks. Who we? Oh yeah, I forgot that game's probably starting.
Seattle. I picked Seattle.
I gotta go Seattle.
Yeah.
Giants are just
without Saquon.
Yeah, I don't think the Giants. I think were the fakest team last season.
The Giants are 100%. The Giants are missing a premier number one.
It's embarrassing that we even lost to them, by the way. Dang, Justin's got the Giants though.
Interesting.
I know Gary said let's pull up remaining schedule and make we'll probably hop off pretty quick here, but we did that last Wednesday.
We did.
Every single week. I think it's the same as what I said last weekend because I had us having a win this year or this game. So I'm still thinking that we're going to have 9 wins unless the only way to make me change my mind is us beating Kansas City or San Francisco. But Kansas City would be better because then you're going to have to hear me talking about it up until we beat San Francisco. So hopefully we just come in and beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday, which, oh man, hopefully we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, we'll have a whole podcast on Wednesday that will probably be mostly that. So,
absolutely.
Seahawks. But all right, I'm going to put this card up here. 11 entries got to be here to win. The Chiefs look more yeah, for sure. San Francisco is probably the worst matchup we can have with their good defense, their pass rush, and we are terrible against guys like Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuels for whatever reason. Hey, what up, Yogi? What's up? What's up? Anyways,
but by the way, like end of the season when we get there, if we're terrible, then talk to me because then I'll be all in on looking at who the future quarterback's going to be when we get there.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait for that. Regardless, we're going to be talking about it no matter what, but it'll be a lot of conversation is what are we going to have to give up to make it happen. But I'm going to get rid of or do this right now. Let's get this a little closer. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Who we got? You got to be here to win. Got to be here to win. And we got boom, Sarah. Let's go. She's back. She is back.
It'd been a little bit of a cold streak, but we're right back there.
You guys don't want her to get hot on here, man.
Especially not with that 1,000 mark inching closer and closer.
Yeah. By the way, we're only 48 away from 1,000, and of course, just like I've said a million times, I have to find it. 1,000 subscribers. So this is what I'm going to do. So once we hit 1,000 subscribers, the next show after probably will be on our next Monday show after we hit 1,000 subscribers. We'll be giving away the Danielle Hunter gold auto out of 50, 1 out of 50. So when that happens, I'm not going to say I'm giving anything away that day. I'm just going to have, hit 1,000 subscribers. And I'll probably put something like, if you know, or something like that. So when that happens, definitely come in here because I don't want any bots or any people to come try to win this card that doesn't even watch us or it's part of Purple Gang,
Absolutely. But anything else before we
No, let's see. I mean, other than we'll be here Wednesday to talk more about this Kansas City game that, I mean, if we do win, I think the fan base can try to be a little bit more optimistic overall.
Yeah.
I'll be on 7 or 8
I can already feel it's going to be I think I'm already predicting. I feel like it's going to go much like their game against the Jets went on Sunday to where like the home team, the Vikings are going to feel good. You're going to be in it. And then you're going to get to the end of the game. And just a couple plays are going to go the wrong way and the Chiefs are going to end up eking out a win. It's going to be disappointing. I just kind of have that feeling.
I hope so bad. I don't want to be part of that. Look at that franchise. That franchise is on fire, bro. That's franchise like in a bad way.
Again, like I said though, I think this is all part of. I think this is the.
Appreciate you, Barber.
I think this is the poll special, man. I think he is. I think he's definitely. I think the plan was to hire a head coach you didn't believe in, play out the Justin Fields thing, and then get your head coach and quarterback brought in at the same time. I feel like that's the plan here. I think
no way.
I think this is going exactly the way that Ryan Poles wanted.
They just expected Justin, the most hyped player in recent memory, for no reason.
They didn't hype him up. They didn't hype him up.
No, I know. But of course, they thought Justin Fields was going to be their guy.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I think this was all in the cards.
I'm hoping Caleb Williams is just like, I'll stay for another year.
Yeah.
Just because he's obviously, no matter what, we got to get our quarterback this year. but we just cannot let Chicago. We do not want Chicago, and they're
Well,
going to.
especially, like, right now, they have the number 1, 2 pick. Could you imagine if they do bring in Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. to go
That's what's
along
gonna
with
happen.
DJ Moore? Like, kill me now.
It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Justin Fields, though, because they're not gonna.
His rookie
Obviously,
deal
they're
is
gonna have
almost
to
up, isn't
trade
it?
him. No, this is only what? This is his third year.
So he has 1 more year only. So next year would be his last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they didn't
They're
extend his
not picking up his
contract.
if he sucks, if he keeps playing like this, they're not picking up his 5th year option.
Yeah,
I
probably
think I
not.
think I think at this
I don't
point they
know.
would I think they'd Trey Lance it. They'd trade him for a 5th, 6th round pick.
I don't
Just
think
to
so.
get him off the books. Why?
No,
Okay,
no.
whoa, stop. So you think if they have the number 1 overall pick in the draft, they're not just going to trade him off? For
If he's this bad for the whole this whole season, but I think they had extremely high hopes for him.
But if they get,
And same with the media, there's still people out there who.
If they get the
There's
number
still
1
out
overall
people
pick,
out there who.
obviously he is as bad as he's playing now. That's what I'm trying to say here. If they have the number 1 overall pick,
fair.
they will trade him for peanuts and start completely over. New head coach, new
That's fair,
quarterback,
I guess.
and let it run.
Hello, Jamie. The holy shit! That locker was owned by a drug dealer. I found some crack.
You could sell. You could sell
You
that.
could
No,
have.
never mind.
That
No,
could
no,
have probably
crack,
cost. That probably is how much you paid for the whole thing.
Yeah.
For the whole locker. That's crazy. How do they leave their crack in
as
there?
we used to say at Super One, crack is the poor man's cocaine.
Like
Like we made jokes about
true.
about cocaine. He's
I know.
like, you think I'm rich enough to afford cocaine? Hell no.
Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. They just had you found crack in there. That's funny. I'm about to dust off my older computers that are in the. Hey, as long as you guys are in there, I don't care how many accounts you're on to win it. I just don't want it to be people who aren't supportive.
Absolutely. But
pretty much. But
anyway,
alrighty.
I suppose we'll hop off here. Thanks everybody for hopping in. As Jamie said, we will be here on Wednesday with Dave to talk. Probably I look forward to Vikings
Kansas
Chiefs
City game.
Let's get to it. And for any baseball fans out there, support the Twins. 3:30 tomorrow. They're ending the streak. I'm calling it right now.
Game
1-18
baby.
in their last 19 playoff games. It's happening. It's happening. The run starts tomorrow. Let's go. See you guys next time.
Skol.